Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Shed End podcast. This is episode insert number right here. Seven, as James would so kindly inform me there. We've got a lot to cover today, but first of all, first order of business, you may see that we've got a brand new face on the channel here. Our first ever special guest, we've got big PGFC Finn over here. So just introduce yourselves to the fans.
Yeah, my name's PGFC Finn. That's my name, and
found him off the street.
Yeah, look, you couldn't have knocked the fucking water.
Yeah, founder of the formerly known as Bay 136, now known as the Bay. Run their socials, and yeah, about it.
Now also professional soccer ex-pro clubs player as well. So
yeah, number one right wing in Australia.
There we go. There we go. All right, so a lot to cover today, and the reason that we have got Finn in here is that later we will be discussing the Bay and your massive rebrand that's taken place. But first of all, lads, let's get into more, I guess, sort of widespread Perth Glory business. In the 2 weeks that it's taken us since we've last recorded, I think it's been like 2-3 weeks or something like that. Yeah. Not only have we announced the sacking of a coach, the announcement of a new coach.
Wasn't a sacking.
Well, it wasn't a sacking, but a coach leaving, a coach joining, and about what, like 8 player signings, something like that. 9. Jesus Christ. So I guess first order of business, let's get into it. Alen Stajcic out, David Zdrilic in. James, this is something that you called quite early, and I've got to admit, I wasn't the biggest fan when I first heard about it, but now looking at it and actually doing a bit more research instead of emotionally thinking like I always do.
I've just got one word to say.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a wow signing.
Fantastic.
In fairness, it was actually Lazaridis who brought him over, because it was Lazaridis who made the call and said, we need you. But the fact that you're saying, it was recent, that's bullshit. I heard as early as May that we were looking at Zdrila. Staj, if the rumours are true, was apparently in talks or was wanted by the Wanderers to be their next head coach. So the fact that Staj left and Zdrilic came in is not too much of a surprise. I do admit that I was a little bit disappointed though when that member's email came through saying Alen had gone. It was a little bit, sad, because it was like, I would have liked to have seen him be given a chance with the team for next season, but I think it's pretty clear that with the lack of statements that, he wasn't in the new ownership's plan. I will reveal to the listeners and the viewers that I managed to flick Alen a message once it was made official that he was leaving, and he sent a very kind message back. He's a class act, and I'm sure the Wanderers fans will see when he's there that he's a genuine bloke. And maybe, look, tactically we can have questions of how we set the team up and some of the results that we had, but I'll never question his character and his personality, because remember as well, he has a big set of balls at the time last year when he left the Philippines after doing really well at the World Cup to come to Glory. Fair play to him. And then for David to come in, I think the word for me is excitement, because if you watch the presser or you're seeing some of the other videos, like the dude is genuinely excited to be here. Like it's his first gig as a head coach. Apparently he was very excited once he left HBF after the announcement on Friday. You can just tell that he's really grateful, and that he's done a lot of the hard yards to get to where he is today. And it was pretty funny seeing some idiots on Facebook thinking that we've just signed this random assistant coach from Sydney.
I just saw him on Optus Sports. What's he doing coaching my team?
And someone posted like his Wikipedia resume, and I'm like, guys, this isn't Ruben Zadkovic 2.0. This is like a guy that has learned under Rangnick. He spent time with Nagelsmann and Hasenhüttl.
And even if you look at his resume, you see the likes of RB Leipzig, Genoa, even coaching over in the MLS with American academies and stuff like that. The guy has a very impressive CV, more so than the likes of Richard Garcia and Ruben Zadkovic. So,
well, the fact that he was almost going to go to Sheffield United, I think it was 2021, with the guy that he was assisting, it shows that both him and that guy understood the philosophy really well. And then we see, obviously, here in Australia with Sydney and Tele, that the football that they played was probably the best out of all the teams last season.
Absolutely.
And I think the connections he has is crucial as well.
Shit, yeah.
And
Absolutely.
especially him being a head coach, not an assistant, he'll have more power to bring those people in that he likes.
I am interested to see who the assistant coach is. I still have...
Tom Vidovic has I think is a name that possibly could be coming.
I still think it would be kind of funny if we had Neil Kilkenny as assistant coach, just because I can just imagine just Zdrila being the quiet guy in the background, just fucking doing all the tactics and shit, just having a think, and then Neil Kilkenny just fucking just fucking going ape shit.
What do you think of Zdrila?
Nah, I reckon he's a good pickup. Like, I think the way that Stadge was forced out of the club in terms of like, he's just
shit go.
He's just been sent away. But I think in terms of who was open in the market at the time, I think Zdrila's probably the best pickup or one of the best options we could have probably had.
There was obviously the likes of Paddy Kisnelbo and everything, but he's gone to Victory now, Stadge to Western Sydney Wanderers. I will just say with Stadge that I think that, look, I was surprised to see him take another club coaching gig straight away. I thought that maybe he would have returned to the Matildas or something like that.
No.
But
he wouldn't have left us without having something like that.
That's true.
I reckon
That's
he's
true.
earned his coin
But-
now. I don't think he'll go back overseas.
Maybe not, but
We'll see.
I will say that Western Sydney Wanderers, if for all Western Sydney Wanderers fans, if there is one thing that you can absolutely give Stadge credit for as a coach, it is getting the most out of his young players. We saw it with Majeka Dunmi end of the season.
Yep.
We saw it with Benny and the way he came through, you know, being a sort of just academy player that only really made his breakthrough in pre-season. And in the space of one season, he's got himself a move to QPR. You know, the way he integrated Quiet and Go and a bunch of the other boys in there. It was very good to see. So be very excited with what Stadge can bring to the table there.
And the game style as well. Every single game at HBF was fucking
hectic.
But maybe not like the best standard of football and best results. I mean,
But it was entertaining.
some of the defending, I mean, you might want to breath test half the back line for how shit some of the goals that we conceded. But that's the thing. Some of the Western Sydney games with Rudin as the coach were like side to side, boring. Let's park the bus. Let's pump it long.
I genuinely can't even tell you how many times I turned off a Western Sydney game halfway through
They're
because I was
just
bored.
dull. They've got the RBB, which, you know, they're very good at what they do, but the actual football was shit. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes there.
Yeah.
To save us from drumming on and on about the Stadge and Zdrilic situation, because we could probably do that for an episode in itself, let's move on quickly to the transfers. Now, obviously, we knew about Josh Risdon, we knew about Brandon O'Neill. I think we've already covered them, so we won't really cover them too much. First one that we didn't really... Well, we knew it was going to happen, but we weren't able to cover it. I think we covered it a bit on the last episode, but didn't go into full depth. We've signed a lot of young players.
Yeah.
First of which was Nathaniel Blair, then followed up by his Western Sydney Academy teammate, Bagadra, Adam Bagadra, and then Faisal as well, announced with Adam Bagadra as well. So with that sort of transfer business, what do you guys think that speaks for the way that Ross and Stan are looking to set this club up? Are we more looking towards the future with integrating these guys in within the next year, potentially looking to get them on long-term deals to sell them on for profit, or is this more just laying the foundations for what we think we could be seeing going forward, where we prefer younger teams that are going to go out and put full pressure, full high effort?
I think it's just depth, and they're hoping that they work out.
That's fair.
Like cheap depth. Yeah, I don't think it's the foundation. I think they've already sort of laid the foundation with bringing in Zdrila.
Absolutely. I mean, to be fair, when you consider Zdrila-Ball and the way that other teams like RB Leipzig and stuff play, it's very high octane. Very high octane. You need the legs, you need the depth. So I'm glad that we're actually making young depth signings, which is good. Nathaniel Blair on, what was it, a 2-year deal, I think?
2-year deal.
2-year deal. Bagadra on a 3-year deal. Faisal only on a 1-year deal, which I was surprised by. But I have a slight feeling that this is sort of just going to be his audition year. And if he is good enough, maybe he gets an extended contract. But I do think it's good to get that young depth in, especially with the financial state of the league, always having that potential to be able to sell these players on for profit.
It's a Moneyball strategy.
Yeah.
You know, like it does, because apparently we've still got the debt hanging over us, I think, from what Sage left or from whatever else we had. The fact that it was confirmed to the members when Lazareta sent that email a couple of days ago saying that I've been working with our new coach for the last month constructing the squad, that gives me a little bit of, you know, reassurance that it wasn't just Stan doing like a football manager and just like spamming all the free agents that were available. It was like, no, we actually have a bit of a...
Scout young player.
Someone like a 90 potential. Oh, wow, let's sign him.
Potential.
But it seems like there's a bit of a plan, at least with the midfield, right? Because the midfield was just shit. I mean, everyone from pillar to post slammed Collie or whoever else was in the midfield last season, and some would say deservedly so. But the fact that we've had a bit of a turnover, and we've had, in my opinion, an upgrade, right? You bring in O'Neill, the circumstances when he left the last time weren't very good, but he's still a class player. Gamulka, Rip Jacob, unlucky you've now got someone else that we don't really want, but so you can deal with him.
Take Ben Callahan with you, mate. Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
We'll take Taras because I think he's a very good defensive midfielder, and even though he barely played, he was like elite for tackles and shit. And the one thing our midfield couldn't do last season was tackle. I think Pennington will be an interesting option. I think he's the one that we might think, okay, Musti, if you're not performing well, Pennington comes in, come and give a bit of that drive in the midfield.
So you don't think Pennington's a starter?
He might be, but I think it's more balanced if you go with Gamulka and O'Neill, because that way you've got two blokes that are holding and you've got two guys that can defend, but they can also play a pass.
Because Pennington's definitely not a pure six. Definitely not in the way that Gamulka or Bodnar would be. It would more be Amini would be there for the leadership role and hopefully being able to sort of mould Pennington into what we need with an O'Neill understudy.
But Amini and Pennington's an 8. They're both 8.
Yeah, but
it just depends on our structure and our setup.
Yeah, that's the thing. But I think the midfield looks better. I don't know about this Hamzawi bloke.
Yes.
Anus.
Big anus.
Well, look, we don't know too much about him unless Dave had a really good recommendation about him or Stan did. I'm not too sure. Blake hasn't played since April last year. Has been injured quite a fair bit, and most of his experience is in the Belgian third tier. Could we not find someone in the NPL or another visa player?
In all fairness, I look at Central Coast Mariners and the way they did their business signing Docker from the Brazilian 4th Division, and I do have a bit of faith, but I won't judge it that early and say it's a banger signing. But Finn, in terms of transfer business, what the business that has been done and the business that we haven't done yet, what are some areas that you do think we need to improve on?
Yeah, definitely defenders. Like, I feel probably another senior centre back pairing to go alongside. Who's our current centre back?
Majeka Dunmi.
Majeka. Oh, no. Well, I feel like if Majeka Dunmi is going to start, he needs probably a centre back pair who is going to be someone who's going to help him grow and be able to learn. Be like Amini if he's going to go in the midfield alongside Pennington or.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm all for Sainsbury pairing next to Majex, but it looks like he's following the J League on Instagram recently.
He might be off to Japan, Alex. So yeah, it's just not working, brother. But it's a good point about having an experienced centre back, because we've gone through that many centre back pairings over the whole season. We didn't have any sort of consistency with like one or two that always started. Like Daz would sometimes be in the team, or it would be Majek sometimes in the team, or Beavers or Shush. It's like you need a couple ideally good, ideally Australian, but a visa player I would cop. But I hope we've got enough coin to bring in at least one or two centre backs.
I mean, Stan did say last week to expect 2 to 3 visa players as well. Did he say 2 to 3 players?
It was 2 to 3
high profile.
But he said, but there was like an ABC thing where he said he's closing in on 2 international players.
That's it. That was the one. Sorry. Yeah,
I think we're going to bring in another 4 to 5.
You reckon? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Now, obviously there were the heavy rumours of Lachlan Barr as well. That was a big one, and quite frankly, I've come around to the idea of signing him.
Yeah, he's good.
If we do get him, I would much rather that we also do bring in a foreign centre-back as well. I think you need to have 3 top-level centre-backs for that rotation. I'm fine with Majex being a starter, absolutely, but you do need someone there to help rotate as well, especially if we get through in the Oz Cup, or if we're looking to, rotate the side, keep it fresh through the season, especially with the long away trips as well. I'd much rather that we do have 3 top-level centre-backs. Obviously, you do have Andriano Labib. We still have Jacob Muir here at the club. Lichaliski we just signed as well.
What is it much about Zach? I don't know too much about. All I know is Australian under 20.
I do like his profile. Left-footed centre back, quite tall, looks pretty comfortable in possession.
Is he quick?
He's not lightning. He can move.
If at round 1 HBF Park he smashes into someone and breaks their legs, he's won me over right there. But
Dino Djulbic.
Yeah, Dino Djulbic.
He's not rapid, but he's like Kachumba speed.
Kachrumbas was pretty quick.
Kachrumbas was rapid for A-League bro. Come on now. If we had a young centre back who was Kachrumbas speed, bro, I'd be buying a shirt. Yeah. I'd be buying a shirt.
So Bruce Kamau speed.
What
Bro,
the fuck?
Bruce come out with one or half of an E. But no, Zach looks like a very good pickup, and I'm excited to see what happens there. But we do look like we're going heavy for depth this season, with young depth especially. So do expect that we're going to see a lot of, these younger guys. Obviously, Faisal, Zdrilic, Bagajara, Blair. All these younger guys. I do think that they're going to get stints in the NPL often, which I don't mind.
I reckon Bagajara is going to be one to look out for this season.
Oh no, 100%.
I reckon if we're going to talk about a player that has the capacity to be a starter of the young boys that we've signed, I reckon it's Adam. Some of there's a couple of highlight packages of him from his seasons in the NPL. Some of the goals that he's scored are ridiculous. Like, it's either a long range shot or even like 2 or 3 goals from halfway. The dude can move. He's like one of those like FIFA players that's like very tentative and very agile and can like zip around and just pass the ball. But he's creative as well, right? And we do need a 10. I mean, we just got to hope that this young fella is similar to Keegan when he came to us from Queensland, and Keegan kicked ass once he got into the team from that Western game, and didn't take a step back from there.
Imagine if we've got Keegan under a proper manager.
No, don't even. Keegan under Driller. But to be fair, now we do have 2 of I'd consider the most promising young attacking midfielders currently within the NPL. That being Bagajara and Pierman. So I'm very excited to see what happens there.
What about Kwai? Didn't he score yesterday?
Kwai can go. Yeah, he scored yesterday. I think it was Kwai, it was Sebastian Despotovsky and Samuel Barry that scored.
Seb's got to get a run soon, surely.
I don't think yet. I don't think just yet.
But like, he has to be like close, like not too far away.
Here's the thing. I don't mind it, but at the same time, you look at the fact that we've just signed Nathaniel Blair. I think it's just a bit too early. If we're talking about not the season coming up, but the season after, I think that's the perfect time for him to shine. He's still a young guy. Let him get his reps in. Get him a few substitute appearances. Why not? But I don't think he's ready to take on that sort of squad player responsibility.
Just on the young boys, real quick. I had a quick look at where we're doing in the NPL. I think we're like either last or second last.
We're like second or third.
What's the story? Because it's like I'll just be quick. Like, I had a look at some of our placings over the last like 10 years. We haven't really been a side that's been towards the top 4. And I know sometimes players can get poached or put in the first team or whatever. I'm not too familiar with the structure of the academy team there, but at least with this season, I felt that we've got a couple good players in lots of different positions. Like, I think Robbie Cook has had a pretty solid season. He's on trial, I think, to Sunderland.
Sunderland,
yeah. So what's the story? Why have we not done too well?
We've been scoring goals like. In terms of attacking front, it's not been too bad, but it's the defence that's been letting us down. Like,
fuck, we've heard that before.
Last place Inglewood a couple of weeks ago now. They hadn't won a game all season, had only scored 4 goals in 11 games, and they went to Samker Football Centre, our home ground, and beat us 6-1.
Fuck. So didn't we get 2 red cards that game or something?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, a game before I think as well.
Fucking hell.
But here's the thing: is that I've always specified this when talking about the NPL team, and is that a team full of teenagers should never, and I mean never, be able to compete in any circumstance with a group of men.
Western Sydney Academy?
No, but that's what I'm saying. You do have your outliers. You do. But especially in WA football, with the amount of like high-level veterans that we've got in this fucking level. You got Joe Knowles, Neil Kilkenny, Andy Keogh. You got Andy Keogh and Lee Griffiths.
Andy's doing well with Dianella.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you've got high-level veterans, which is good. But I do believe that there's very few circumstances where you can really make a case for the fact that a young team should be challenging a men's team at the same level. But it is disappointing, the fact that we have had Robert Cook down there, the fact that we have had Andriano Lebib down there.
Would you say those 2 have been the best performers, standouts so far?
Yeah. Stand out. Those 2 and Quiet and Go. Aiki Sakamoto's been good.
What about Pierman?
Pierman's been good.
Yeah.
He's been good.
He should be getting a run in the first team, surely.
Yeah, definitely.
Next season, it'll be him and Bagajara fighting for that spot, I reckon, to be the understudy. That's the thing, though. Next signing that we have to make, if not, firstly, sort out the centre-back situation, please. Yeah. But we need to target a fucking cracker 10.
Yeah.
If not to start, just to provide that experience and be able to teach guys like Adam Bagajara and Jalen Pierman. Because if you get them a proper tutor for how to become like a top European 10.
So would you rather De Silva or a European 10? If it was up to you two boys, would you go with a Danny De Silva? Albeit he had missed a fair bit of last season because he did his hammy pretty bad.
Yeah.
Would you rather let's go with Danny De Silva, or should we get like a European 10 for these boys?
Well, considering the amount of visa slots we have open, I reckon we got to go for a European.
I think anyone would rather a visa 10, to be honest, but it is. We can sit here and talk about who we'd rather because, a few weeks ago we were sitting here saying sign Sainsbury, sign Economides,
we do it every
sign
year.
Ryan Williams.
I understand
all these
I understand we're a little bit strapped for money.
A little bit is
So-
kind.
That's fine. Yeah.
No, so obviously we can't expect another Castro because that in itself was 1 in a million. But
Fuck yeah.
even if we could get someone like who plays in Serie B,
True.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Serie B would be a good level to target, but look, it's all about finding the right player. That's the most important part. We've had way too many cases where we're just going around and just throwing cash everywhere. We're not fixing the problem. Look, we've had long enough now to be able to target and to be able to figure out what we need in a Castro replacement. So let's just go out and fucking do it.
Yeah.
I think there's cheaper alternatives. What I'm trying to say.
Oh, absolutely.
That could do a good job, a good enough job.
I think the good thing is going to our recruitment. Back to that point is that we've got 9 guys in, and it's not even it'll be July when we release this more or less, but it's not even July yet. We've been really proactive with our business, and we're now at a point where it's like, can we get some good visas in? Can we get ideally a couple of decent Aussies? Because I know we're pretty broke, but it's not as if we've been signing like superstar players that would be on big contracts. You would think there would be some money left in the kitty where we can ideally get a couple X Factor players, because at the moment, not to sound disrespectful, but it is pretty much a youth team at this moment in time, bar a couple senior players in there. It is missing a bit of X Factor, and I think even though Zdrilic could say, well, I'm happy with it because I've come from a background that's all about youth development. My mentor, Rangnick, was all about youth development. Nagelsmann and Hasenhüttl all did youth development. They all did very well at, the clubs in Italy and Belgium and Chicago when it came to developing youth, and obviously at Sydney. But are these boys ready yet? The ones that we have signed, that's going to be the big question for me. And how many of the guys in our academy team can make that jump? That's going to be very interesting for me next season.
Just a quick point on the fact that we've made 9 signings already. I do remember saying this to you last year. Obviously, it wouldn't have been on the pod because the pod wasn't around back then. But the last time I can remember us getting our business done this quickly in the transfer window was when we were under Popper.
We won a premiership the last time we got our business done.
Because we had a coach early who we could trust, who had a vision, who had a structure, knew who we wanted, knew what we wanted. And finally, we've got a coach in Drilla who we now find out that we've had it for over a month, who clearly knows what he wants to do. He has a structure that we know works because it's been implemented in Leipzig, been implemented at Genoa, it's been implemented at Sydney when he was assistant coach under Talai. We know it works. So I'm happy that we've got a coach in, that we've actually got a structure for the way we're signing players, because we haven't had that since we've lost Popovic. But it's just good to have.
What's your expectation at this moment for next season? What's a pass mark for you? I know it's pretty early to ask that, but what would be an ideal pass mark?
Top 6 has to be top 6, like making finals, if not top 4. But maybe top 4, leaning in more to next season, like the one after. But top 6,
we've
definitely
got to make top 6.
Top 6. Qualify and then qualify for the Australia Cup as well. That because as in like for the game against Brisbane in a couple of weeks' time. I hope to God that we try and take that seriously, because I know that Radic said that we've got a few pre-season tours apparently overseas lined up. Can we at least try and take the Oz Cup seriously? Because I don't think we've qualified for it in the last 3-4 years.
5 years, I think.
5.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Can we get?
It's been a shambles, but let's be honest here. I think we've got a favourable draw with Brisbane. It does suck a bit that we've got Melbourne City straight afterwards.
But we're at home.
But we are at
travel.
home. We are at home.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Where do you think that will be played?
Oh, Dorian or Sam Kerr.
Should get a good crowd, I reckon.
Sad day. It's going to be a sad day.
I mean, hopefully it's cheap entry fees.
So that
as
was
well.
a sad day.
It's confirmed sad day.
Yeah.
But look, I think if there was a team that we're going to pull for this fixture, I would have rather have been Brisbane than anyone else. You look at the business they've done. Shit. Quite literally every single person right now is predicting them to finish bottom with the business they've done so far. Yes, they brought in guys like Ben Warland, Halloran.
They've rated Adelaide pretty much.
They've rated Adelaide scraps, which is fair enough, but I just don't. I don't see the vision. I've been talking with Jacob about it. He thinks they're going to line up with some sort of back five. It's just
yuck. We've seen that experiment before with Ruben last season.
Look, the midfield looks just as good as it normally does. You've got their new Lebanese visa signing. You've got Berenger. You've got J.O. Shai.
Bro, it's old.
It's old, but it's technical.
Yeah, but that's gonna get steamrolled. It worked when it had Ross there, but Rubes didn't really fix their midfield when he was there. So in theory, if we bring over a good team to Darwin, and we've got Zdrila-Ball ideally somewhat down pat in the first 3 weeks, we should be able to press the living shit out of them and try and get a result.
Speaking of Zdrila-Ball, what do you think we're actually going to line up with in terms of like formation tactically? We know that Zdrila-Ball is, well, you know,
we do and we don't know what it is.
We do and we don't, but we can expect it to be high octane, high press, big effort to win that ball back high and actually create chances.
Oh, we're gonna play with a high line that is gonna make me pretty nervous, to be honest.
I'm predicting 4-2-3-1 for the formation, which I think makes sense with the fact that
Rangnick plays that with Austria and Germany, and Nagelsmann with Germany.
He goes between 4-2-3-1 and 4-2-3-1.
But this is the thing as well. The reason why I think this philosophy could work, because you look at the two teams that have performed pretty well in the Euros so far. It's Germany and Austria, and you'd think, no, for good reasons. Come on, but you would think as well with
the
Zdrila.
squad is also not mid.
Yeah, but you'd also think as well with like some Italian team or something. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they got knocked out this morning or something. Yeah, but you would think as well defensively, we should be seeing a much better outfit, because I don't know if you boys saw. I certainly did when Croatia played both Spain and Albania. Zdrila on the Optus coverage tore them a new arsehole. He ripped into them, and you would think with the way in which we'd want to play, he wouldn't be accepting any of those goals that we conceded last season, and some of those chances that we conceded last season, because we were just, when you're getting to a point when you're averaging 2.6 goals conceded per game, you can kiss goodbye finals. It doesn't matter if you score shitloads of goals. If you can't defend, you won't make the finals. And I think practically every team that finished in the top 6, if I was to take a guess, scored more than they conceded. So simply we just have to do better from that defensive perspective. I don't think it really matters what the system is, as long as that actual philosophy that Dave has spoken about quite a fair bit. He even said it's like to do with the Perth Glory DNA or something. I'm guessing that's a callback to when we were good in the NSL.
Yeah.
But you would think it's a brand of football that hopefully will get the crowds back, because I think, we saw the crowds at points last season were there. But I think, there was a pretty clear correlation when Josh said basically after the Wellington game it went to shit, in terms of, I guess, general support and that hype that we had for a little bit. So hopefully we can get that brand of football down pat, because if you remember that Brisbane game when Taggart and Collie were literally harassing J. O'Shea down in that corner, and then the ball went out, I had not heard HBF that loud in a couple of years. And a lot of the boys that were in front of that Bay 136, they were going fucking bananas as well. I mean, there was even a banana literally in the front row. So,
and my favourite YouTuber, Average.
Oh, he's a guy.
We had him at the NPL game last week against fucking...
So
Did you see him? Bro, I got a selfie with him.
You're a legend.
We had him leading chants and everything with a megaphone.
No, he went to the NPL game yesterday by himself as well.
Oh, what a legend.
Yeah.
What a legend.
He needs to meet the boy.
He is a meme, but like... In all fairness to him, he's a bit of a legend.
He's a legend.
Yeah.
Shit, I don't even... We've covered everything relatively quickly.
May as well.
Oh, no. Alex Ekpasad, how do you say it? Epakis, that's right.
Him going? Well, Facebook is suggesting that things went... Well, it depends if you believe Facebook, but there were suggestions that not everything was well behind the scenes. I don't know if that's true or not. But the girls... in the 21-22 season, after a pretty shit season, we're very close to making the finals. 22-23 were very close. This season that just went...
Started off
really, really well. We were at the... me and Josh were at the Newcastle game at HBF, and the way the girls moved the ball and defended especially was really good. And then around about after that Mariners away win, it just went tits up. I don't think they won another game for the rest of the season. So that's the last 12 or something games.
Crazy.
They didn't win another game. They dropped from like first or something to down below like 8th or 9th or something. So they've lost Rigby, who was pretty influential, not just
she retired like so young.
Yeah, she was influential on the pitch and off the pitch. What she's done for women's football in WA has been elite. They've lost, obviously, Epakis, who I think is a decent coach, but this was the year where he should have made the finals and he didn't. So if they're wanting a clear reset, I don't mind that. The important thing is the new appointment. But the fact they've also lost Millie Farah to Sydney FC is a bit of the kick in the balls, because she was someone that, especially in that Newcastle game that we watched, even though she didn't score, she was desperate, she was fighting for everything, and she was really aggressive, and I liked watching her play. So hopefully there's obviously attention needed for the men's side, but I hope that the girls' side, can get that similar attention and get some good players in, because it can't just be Glory's men's side doing well and the girls, slumping down the bottom. We need both teams, as well as our NPL, doing as well as they can.
I remember that 2 hours when the Sam Kerr goodbye video to Chelsea was just like, guys, Sam Kerr to Glory? Guys, Sam Kerr to Glory? Oh my God, guys. Hayley Rasso to Glory because she left Madrid? Oh, guys.
Oh, fuck.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I mean, you do make a good point about Epakis and everything like that, so I am intrigued to see what direction we do go into.
There's going to be a couple weeks. There's going to be a couple weeks at least.
Yeah, of course, but it's the men's team that's finally making some fucking early moves. Oh my God, it's been so long since we've had
2 wooden
this.
spoons, yeah.
But
you want to talk about that, Bay?
yes, we'll get right to that now, because I think we've covered all the transfers and shit and what record.
Next minute we sign like a marquee.
Oh!
Wow, signing.
Guys, we're broke. Oh, we're signing Coutinho.
Yeah.
Wait, guys, Ross Pelligra's takeover failed. He forgot to. He
Forgot his dollar.
He forgot to carry the one. Oh,
Come on.
we're broke again. Damn
Yeah.
it. All right. But let's get on to it. The reason that the man himself, Finn, is here in the first place. So for some of you that may have seen on social media, Bay136 recently did a massive rebrand. So congratulations to you guys on that. But yeah, just tell us all about it, what we can expect from the Bay, and just absolutely everything about the rebrand.
Just quickly,
Yeah.
you stole my tweet, bro.
Did I? Yeah. I saw Josh's as well, to be fair. Yeah, so pretty much Bay136, a mate of mine made the account back in probably February, just after the Melbourne City game. We noticed a bit of change in support, people, compared to the Newcastle game, first game of the season, we saw more people coming through the gates, and there was a bit more of us congregating behind that goal there, trying to, and we thought there's no active support for the youth, or there hasn't been for probably 2 or 3 years now.
Since 14, since that 14-15 season. I
No,
think.
since Perth Youth, bro.
No, proper,
Well,
no offense,
No
I'm not going to
offense.
get shot here, but when we had big numbers, 14, 15, I think
of
was it the North Terrace or something that we had, or there was some sort of group. Perth Terrace.
Perth
Terrace.
Terrace,
I
James
think,
and
yeah.
I can both go into detail about why Perth Youth didn't work, but we could say
Let's
not on here.
yeah.
not on here.
And then after the Melbourne City game, made the account, made a couple posts, and they kind of went a bit viral. Couple hundred likes per post,
Good
and
shit.
we noticed that there was a bit of interest, and there was also a bit of a gap. I think that was the month January where we had 3 or 4 away games in a row. So my mate got me involved, told me to help him make some posts. So pretty much for those 3 or 4 weeks, we just pushed reels and content and different form of a way to spread the message out. And then Brisbane game came around, and we were expecting maybe half a bay, maybe a full bay of people, but then we ended up with probably 2, 3 full bays of people active standing, and it was pretty good to see. And then right after that, the club said that they were announcing the 5,000 free tickets for the Wellington game the next week, and we were like, we've got to push this as much as we can. And then, although I guess to some on what they saw on TV and others around the stadium, it might have looked good. It did have its problems, the Wellington game, because there wasn't really a way to control the masses, I guess. There was no
Capo.
no capo, no form of leadership at the front directing people what to do. So not only was there a bit of a fight between the shed in terms of chants and stuff, but also there was there wasn't any form of people stopping them from there was water bottles and stuff being chucked at one another, the 2 bays fighting or whatever, and it was just a bit chaotic. So then after that, a lot of those boys just decided to get up and leave, and then it wasn't really on related to anything on the pitch. It was more just they had their fun, they were out now. So then the numbers started to die down, but I did notice that there were still more people than at the beginning of the season at the Newcastle game, but it was probably half a bay that we had in the last couple of games, but even then they were still committed. And to be fair, even if there were dead rubber games, 38 degrees, 3 p.m. kickoffs while Sunday League had also started, we still managed to get half a bay standing active, and I think there is that passion there, and we are able to grow on that for this season coming up. But yeah, so we decided to do that rebrand, move away from Bay 136. We thought 136 was probably a bit confusing. People would get that confused. Moved into the Bay. We thought it aligned a bit better with the name The Shed as well. The Shed and the Bay. And then, yeah, brings us up to about now, I think.
Didn't Ross come and see you boys in the, I think it was a Wanderers game?
Yeah, he did come around. He shook a couple of our hands, but only, like, there was the section of the those boys who didn't really care.
Yeah.
But that's who we mainly focused on, and then he skipped over us. We were like, what?
Damn it, Ross.
Come on.
Nah. But yeah.
Ross, to make it up to them, you got to give them a Perth Glow branded megaphone. You got to
Yeah, you gotta let us bring our megaphones.
more free tickets.
How's the dialogue with the club been, if there has been any?
They have been more supportive of us. Like, they're a bit on and off in terms of when they want to support us and when they don't. But they do, like, recently they have appreciated, and like they gave us a shout out on their socials saying thanks to
Love you guys
for coming to the NPL game. But yeah, no, they've been helpful, and hopefully we'll be able to continue a bit more dialogue and work with them more in the future.
Did they, like, you know, after the Wellington game, all the bands and stuff, that was sort of everyone, not like specifically your group, but like, did they have anything to do? Like, did they contact you about it?
Not me specifically, but the mate of mine who I run it with, I think he ended up having to go on a call with him, one of the Shed leaders, and the club and Venues West, and it took them about 2 or 3 hours, but they were threatening all these sorts of bans and trying to make it a seating only area and whatnot. But in the end, they ended up with this like ridiculous tarping situation where that was so stupid. I can't lie.
Because you know what the bizarre thing was? I think we forgot which one it was. Someone posted their ban notice on Facebook or Twitter, and it didn't even say like what you had done.
Pre-printed, yeah.
It's pre-printed, and it didn't say like you have been banned because I don't know, you broke a chair or you flipped off security or something. There was nothing, and I think it was a Newcastle game. We went, and you could just feel like there was a huge presence of cops, and it just didn't feel like a welcoming environment.
Yeah,
like everyone was commenting about it as well, and it's like, obviously once the shit happened over in Sydney where there was that big clash between supporters and the cops, I think we noticed that there was a big congregation of coppers and secos around you guys, and did that probably turn off a few boys from coming down?
Yeah, it definitely did, because that Newcastle game we had the first 2 rows tarped off, and then we had police officers like not on the grass in the stands, like in that front row standing. There was like probably 6 or 7 of them just in that front row alone across the 2 bays, and it was just wasn't really a fun environment when they had all those gates up behind the bay and they were just telling people to no food, and if you had a drink you had to decant it into a little paper cup or whatever it was.
Yeah, I remember that.
It just wasn't. I guess it did turn a lot of the boys away, but to the ones that did stick out for the rest of the season, it was good to see a bit of a revival happening in the front of the bay.
That's good.
Yeah.
What's good though is, especially since I've last week went down to my first ever proper NPL game and stuff, and even though I only met like 5 or 6 of the boys from the Bay, as well as Average down there as well,
He's one of the boys.
it does seem like a really positive environment from the people I've actually spoken to. It's a group that actually wants to drive proper active support, none of this, you know, ultras bullshit with the fighting and the water bottles and everything, but just a passionate group of young people that wants to actually push forward support for this club, which is great, and it's been something that we've been lacking for nearly a decade now. Yeah. So
I don't think there's necessarily a huge problem with people that want to have the ultra idea, because it has had elements of success in over east with parts of the Wanderers and parts of Melbourne Victory's support as well. The issue is when, from my perspective, when I think it was a couple of seasons ago, when there was that group that was before, some of the, from an outsider's perspective, they may disagree, there was an antagonistic kind of vibe towards it, and it didn't feel like you could just join in and get along and start something. And I can understand maybe if you're going to get into that, you have to be chanting for 90 minutes, but it just didn't seem like an environment where people would want to come in. And I think what we're seeing with at least this group, from what I've seen from above, lots of boys are wanting to come in, and I think you would probably agree as well. The ideal scenario is that all boys can, or all families can come down, get involved with a chance, because not everyone might want to go in the shed. They might want to come in front of the bay, and if the players score a goal, they can come and celebrate with the fans, because it certainly looked, especially in that Brisbane game where there was that big group of fans. I was like, fuck, this is like, almost European level. We got all these, young fellas behind, and they're supporting the team. Yeah, maybe a couple more chances could be learnt rather than 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But it was still the start of something good. And the hope is that we can see that back next season, hopefully bigger and better.
I mean, I was supportive of it, but it felt like there was a bit of tension between like the shed and everyone was 50-50 about it.
What was the story with that?
The shed, it has been a bit 50-50. Like, the shed the leadership of the shed has been supportive towards us, and they've been trying to work with us, but it seems to be like the older, the left side of the shed, if you will, the ones who
Arms Folded Brigade.
Arms Folded, yeah. They're the ones who are a bit not so supportive, and a bit like, oh, why can't we be the only active at this club?
What? Come on.
Yeah.
Too old school, man. Too old
they
school.
don't really want to give under 18s a chance. I feel like they just want to.
But shouldn't the
sit in the family area.
Yeah.
But shouldn't the objective be, right? We've had piss poor crowds for a couple of years. Shouldn't the theory be we want to try to create the atmosphere so that people want to come back to the games, because we haven't had an average of 9,000 since Poppers last season.
But on that point, I genuinely think there is a group of fans, and it's really unfortunate, but there is those older group of fans that I genuinely think only really enjoy the glory just so they can go have a fucking piss up in their 70s. Like, it's. But no. But like seriously, if you
Not
are
a Josh style piss up.
if you are against proper active support and not the ultra shit, and I want to touch back on that point,
right,
with how ultra support can work,
right.
And I do agree, right? You've got ultra support that works well with the RBB, it works well with Melbourne Victory, but then it has when it doesn't work well. Example being Section 22 for Sydney. It has a very bad rap. Even the Cove doesn't like him. But here's the thing: the reason I think that the Perth Youth, when we were a part of it, didn't work is that we weren't even established as an active group, and they tried to form it into an ultras group. You know what I mean? We were just
there probably wasn't that widespread support.
Exactly, there wasn't the widespread support.
I can understand. Like,
we went against the. I'm not going to say we, because we weren't a part of it.
There were
but they went against the shed of a lot of the time, which was a very bad thing. They didn't have good faith from the club, didn't have good faith from the shed, and then all of a sudden they're showing up with balaclavas and stuff like that, and it's just like, come on, man.
I mean, there's like a difference in terms of style of support, in terms of what you're going to get. Like, you go to the Western Sydney games, the RBB, you can still, like, there's the manifestation of the different cultures, like the European and the South American side. Yeah. Glory for me has always been like that, sort of that British Australian that kind of that atmosphere, and that's our identity, and there shouldn't be something wrong with that. But if someone wants to add to it, that shouldn't necessarily be a bad thing as well, because the better the atmosphere, obviously the players are going to respond to it. Zdrila in his press conference was like, when the shed is bouncing, it's a pretty good place to be at, because he would have seen it when back in the old day in the NSL, when he would have come here, I think with Sydney United, he would have seen, the Hill at the time in full force. And I think we should be trying to get to a phase where we can have both the shed and the bay creating this noise that ultimately the opposition hate, but we love it because it's us.
I will say this now, a bit of a soundbite for any of you listening. If you are a fan of the Perth Glory, I don't care if you're in the shed, I don't care if you're in the family, the general admission, whatever, if you're old, if you're young, if you're against youth active support, proper active support, no ultras flare chucking bullshit, proper active support in coercion with the bay and the shed, I genuinely don't consider you a Perth Glory fan. Because if you're a fan of this club, you want to see people support, you want to see better atmosphere, you want to see younger people coming down here and properly supporting it. If you want to use this as an excuse to have a fucking piss up on a Saturday night, sure, use it, but don't speak out on your Facebook thinking you're all fucking righteous, saying that you know what you're talking about.
There should be the point as well. Like, if families, if they don't, we should at least make it clear as to where the shed and the bay are going to be, and that if families don't want to be necessarily a part of that because it can get a bit rowdy, then it should be encouraged. Probably sit alongside general admission. You can still get involved if you want to, but I think sometimes there has been that issue where maybe families have sat involved in that area behind the goal, not realizing, oh shit, that's an active area.
That's happened a fair few times.
Josh, what are you doing at my table, bro?
Idiot, bro. But you're saying it's happened a fair.
The Newcastle game with that tarps up. So I was the first row that the security told me I could go, because security were also hopeless. It was venue management that set all the tarp up.
Right.
I had myself set up in the second, or what I thought was the front row, but it was actually the second row, probably 2 or 3 minutes before kickoff. This mum and like 3 or 4 kids, couldn't be older than like 6, 7 years old, come all in Man City, full Man City, full Man City, even like the socks and stuff, all come sit right in front of me.
Oh.
And then
Okay, can I just ask? Were they like small blonde-haired kids with glasses?
No, not glasses.
Okay. I swear to. Okay, that might have. I thought that was a.
Alex is thinking, "Oh my God, there's more than one Man City fan."
Because I have a. I coached last season.
Yeah.
One of my players was like this small blonde kid, and then he had 2 twin younger brothers.
Yeah.
Both of them wore glasses and were like short blonde white kids,
yeah.
and they'd always go to Perth Glory games with their mum, and they'd always wear Man City kits, and I was just like,
Yeah.
ah, man.
The odds are pretty high. It was them because you got no fans.
Yeah.
Go pass out on the lawn somewhere.
We saw the antics from last night. But anyway,
Yeah.
but it's like, that's the thing, right? When it comes to, I guess, families coming to the games, yeah, we want families because, you know, when we were good, all the families came down because there was that engagement with the community, right? You wanted to go down, even if you didn't know who the players were, you just wanted to go and be a part of the atmosphere or go down and watch some football, because that's the thing. I had loads of people back in the, like, let's say 2016, where the support was really good. They would be like, we're AFL heads, but we go down because the atmosphere is really good.
Families would also go because they do deals where it's like buy 2 adult tickets and kids go for
Kids go free,
$5.
yeah. Oh, whatever, yeah. So
Yeah.
that could be something that Ross does next season, because, you know, the more fans that we have, the better.
These days they can't do it for free, mate. Inflation. But no, they can do
Western
like
Sydney did
$5
under
for kids.
16s go free.
Western United did that as well. If you're
They
under
don't count.
They did. If you're under 16 and a registered Football Victoria player, then you go for free.
No.
Yeah, but then it's like, oh, you got to register. You're like, and it's just
No, but that's
There's
just
nothing
if
wrong
you
with
play
that.
football. All you had to do
Yeah.
was just go on the thing, and when you buy tickets, they had a separate thing which was put your
Your ID.
FFA number
Yeah.
or whatever the fuck. You'd put it in there, and it'd be like, okay, under 16 tickets completely free. So it's just like, yeah. Obviously, you can't do it with the Glory because we
No.
get stiffed with the fucking HBF Park deal, but
yeah. We honestly, venues West, man. The HBF's part, whatever. They're just
fucking
the
margarita
worst, man.
pizzas. Man.
Your pizza's caused some antics where, what is it?
Bro, it popped up on my TikTok For You page. It happened like, what, 4 months ago?
Because what happened with the catering company, bro? Your post did something, didn't it?
Oh yeah, they got them sacked. they got Optus catering now.
Oh my god.
Fucking oath. So you can
Bro,
get
to be fair, everyone would be thanking you, bro.
get an Optus pizza, go
I
to the
reckon
bay.
the club would be thanking me because
Yeah, there you go.
be like telling HBF for ages, your food's shit. You need to up your game. And then they're
Bring
like,
back
no,
chicken
no.
treat stalls.
They probably should, though, for the nostalgia.
I genuinely will never buy food from HBF Park unless it is chicken treat.
Oh.
I will not buy anything else. It is disgraceful how we know.
Well, Optus
Here's the
food's
thing:
pretty good.
bring back Prime Glory. Can we please, Ross? Can we please get chicken treat as the sponsor on the front of the shirt? Can we
Katani
get
chefs.
QBE somewhere on the shirt as well? And can we
6:45
rename
Saturday.
it from HBF Park to NIB Stadium, please? Enough with this woke propaganda, bro. Get HBF Park out of here.
Yeah,
All right, well, before we start ranting off to anything silly, I think it's best that we probably end it there and save it for the next episode, episode 8, when we do come around to it. But we'll give the final words to you, Finn. Anything you want to promote or anything like that.
If you can, come down to the games next season. Join us in the Bay. We'd be happy to have you. Anyone, literally anyone. As long as you're happy, you're happy to be active and standing, and you're not going to be
I'm sorry.
Karen and complain in the Facebooks and talk about how there's kids standing in front of you.
There's kids saying the word bastard. How dare they?
Yeah.
Why would they call someone a fat bastard? That's not very nice.
That's why we need flares at our games.
Oh,
Just, like, throw them at
Can I just say
Or the rock.
my favorite moment at Macedonia Park was when I watched a group full of 14 and 15-year-old kids call Ollie Sailor sheepshagger.
Oh.
And I know 100%, I know for a fact that none of them knew what sheepshagger actually meant.
it was at that moment Ollie said, I've got to go to Perth next season, boys. I can't deal with this shit.
All right, lads. I think we'll actually. Anything else?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Follow us. We're on every social media pretty much at the Bay Perth. Yeah.
Hopefully we don't lose against Brisbane.
Please.
All right. Doing predictions? Remember your
Because knowing this, I'll say, we're going to win 2-0, guys. And Zimmerino's going to score a 93rd minute winner.
I can see it already, bro.
No. Let's leave it there before we dig ourselves a hole. thank you very much, everyone, for joining us for episode 7 of the Shed End podcast. It has been a bit, but we are back now. We're going to hopefully be posting probably every few weeks, every 2-3 weeks
every
during an episode.
lunar eclipse.
Until the lead up to the actual season, where we'll start hopefully going once a week again. But
we may make an episode next week. It depends if we announce the 2 to 3 high profile.
We'll see how
we'll see how we go.
Keep the viewers in suspense, bro.
Yeah. Or if Luke Bodnar finally responds to our text messages about doing a crossbar challenge at Melville Synthetics. But apart from that, thank you very much, Finn, for joining us. Thank you, obviously, to Josh, to James for driving 45 minutes to my house.
Mate, yep.
And thank you to you guys for watching. And we will see you all next time on the next episode of the Shed End podcast.